Circular Valley, 28th of May 2024, the 6th demo day. I wouldn't have thought that the demo day would come so quickly. We started in 2021. That was the first demo day at the gas boiler, and since then we've met several times. Not just we met, but many of you and many representatives of your company attended the events, and that's truly unique. And I would like to kindly thank you for being so involved. Thank you for the company representatives for having supported us over the past 3 years. Now, I would like to say a few words about the program. What do we have in store for you? We're going to start with a welcome address, and then we have a keynote from Dr. Thomas Stoffmehl, the chairman of the management board of Vorwerk. He already supported us in 2020 during the lockdown phase when we were looking for a home for the circular economy accelerator, and that was truly valuable. Mr. Stoffmehl, Günther Poppen, and Mr. Henrik Mehl, all of you got together and said, well, why don't you come to Wuppertal? And afterwards, we will have the first round of startup pitches. As always, very international. A wide range of topics will be addressed, and then we're going to show a film, a video that was made last year about recycling of wind turbine blades. And it is called Tailwind, Rückenwind, and you'll have a chance to get something to drink during the break, and then we'll have the second round of startup pitches, and then we will have to say goodbye, but we hope that a lot of you will stay here for networking. That's what Circular Valley is all about, networking between you and our young entrepreneurs, but also networking within the different groups of businesses. Circular economy is the transformation of the existing industry. Startups play an extremely important role in this regard, and it's of course also about giving the existing industry the opportunity to meet. What are the partners involved? Well, this slide is very, very full. I would, of course, like to welcome every one of you and appreciate you, but that would take too long. We don't have the time to do that, unfortunately, but what is extremely important to us, and that's something we're very grateful for, is that we span such a broad range: plastics industries, consumer-related industries, from automotive to down to cellulose, and that's what circular is all about.
So we can only do it together, and for many hundred years we have specialized each regarding its own field, but the big transformation that we are facing can only be done together with scientists and science, together with political support, and mainly I would like to mention the Ministry for the Economy and the Ministry for the Environment, who support us this year. And then I have the next slide here, but I don't have to go into detail. These are the startups that we are going to hear later on in detail. They're going to talk about their story. Now I would like to give you some insight into what has happened over the last weeks. We had the friends here from all over the world, and they were here on site, so to speak. That is, they took part in the Vorwerk Accelerator in the east of the city in Laken, and there had been representatives from here, from companies, and also representatives from politics and coaches. So, and then we also made some nice exercises, as you see here, body language. How can I express myself better? This is often of extreme value, and one thing comes across when you look at these pictures, that is the joy in what we are doing together here. And I said we had the opportunity to visit partner companies. One partner company who had been with us from the start is Bayer. Timo Flösmer, global head of materials production, took part in the Accelerator, sat down on the hot chair and answered many questions. Then we had visited the company Keynote, also a supporter of the first hour. And this is again very fascinating to see how here in our regions still big tools are swung and are welded. Then the company Evonik, one of the supporters of the first day. I would like to welcome Christoph Glockner and Jens Busse. Thank you for being here and thank you for taking part in this program. These are highlights of our program, this immediate exchange on site locally and with the respective company. On the right-hand side at the bottom, we see one of the companies that we were able to visit again, one of the raw material companies, and then you see Cornelius Laser, who represents circular economy in the environmental ministry. So there is a connection between politics, startups, science, and the civil society. They're very important. Some of you are here as representatives of the civil society, and we're happy about that because you're giving us immediate feedback from the consumer's point of view regarding what you will see and hear here today. I said I'm especially looking forward to the keynote from the speaker of the board of the Wuppertal traditional company Vorwerk, which many of you associate with Hoovers, the Thermomix. These are products regarding their qualities. They are certainly right at the very top. And I'm looking around because I've seen my mother and I hadn't seen her before, and we had become some nervous. Now I've seen her and now I'm more at peace. So hi, hello, Mama. So the quality product is one thing, but the other thing is how do you sell it to people? And that's why Dr. Stoffmehl and myself, we talked about that and how we want to highlight that, how to place a good thing in the right way. The one thing is that you have great ideas, but on the other hand, the question is how to sell that, and who is better suited to talk about that than a person who spent its whole life coming from legal studies and spending his whole life in direct selling. And if you haven't bought a Thermomix in direct selling, you might have bought from Bofrost, and that's also a company that Dr. Stoffmehl made bigger. And I'm happy that you're here, and I'm extending a warm welcome to you, Dr. Stoffmehl.
No, I hope I can sit here or stand here. Can you hear me? Thank you very much, Mr. Gerhardt, for your words of welcome and advertising myself. I can leave that out, and then I have some time to talk about other things that are maybe of more interest to the audience. Thank you very much for your kind words of welcome and for your invitation. I personally haven't attended the Circular Valley meetings that much. Thomas Wodemann of the board is mainly responsible for that. But nevertheless, sustainability and Circular Valley is extremely important to us at board level, and that's why I was delighted to accept this invitation. I have 15 minutes time, and during a keynote, you always ask yourself what's the most important message for our audience. And I don't think I have to talk about sustainability, and the idea of Circular Valley is something that is of great importance at Vorwerk, at our company. But I wanted to start differently. I'm a lawyer by background. I'm 53 years old. I've been with Vorwerk for 5 years now. Previously, I was with a different direct marketing company, LR, and 14 years, Bofrost. But I forgot to say that my professional career started as a startup entrepreneur. I started an internet startup in 1999 with 4 colleagues, and that was my first entrepreneurial experience. The main message that I would like to convey is that I pretty much know how you feel when you build up a company from scratch, basically. And not everything is rosy at the beginning. And I think I really went through all ups and downs, and it was a success at the end. After 2.5 years, we sold the company as an asset deal, and I learned how important the input of startups and entrepreneurism is. And I would like to congratulate you and encourage you to take additional steps as a company that is very international. I know that the approach to take responsibility and to implement, to materialize ideas, something that people often neglect in Germany, and it's an extremely important contribution here, also in this region and to this location. It's important to show courage, to show the success of the company. And I would like to pay you my greatest respect, because I can very much understand what you've been through. And the other things that you just mentioned, what Vorwerk does, we have the Vorwerk Ventures. We just issued or launched the 4th fund. We don't only work in the area of direct marketing, but also with startups, mainly companies in the B2C sector. Now, I said I don't want to talk so much about the general importance of sustainability. Well, that's just fully clear. It's a no-brainer. Circular Valley is setting very important and good standards in this regard. And this topic is extremely important because with regard to the positioning of companies and how they're going to differentiate themselves and develop their USPs, sustainability is becoming increasingly important. So whether you're relevant or not with your offer, with your products, will very much depend on whether you also deal with sustainability and how sustainable you are in Europe and also outside of Europe. And of course, everybody would subscribe to that. And now I'd like to tell you in a few minutes how we address this topic at Vorwerk, but that's not sufficient. Sustainability is very much driven or seen from a legal view. People criticize the Supply Chain Due Diligence Act. Thomas Heiduck from our company is a manager who's in charge of this, and he is pretty much aggravated by this. But we have a lot of legal topics that we have to deal with as companies that don't always make sense. But, well, for startups, they really mainly mean a lot of bureaucracy. You have to surmount this level or of problems. And if you talk about how you position yourself as a company in a sustainable way, it's not enough to say, well, we don't support child labor or we comply with the Supply Chain Due Diligence Act. I mean, if you offer high-quality consumer goods, people expect that from you. That's not an opportunity for you to differentiate. And you mentioned something a few minutes ago, and that I really like that, and that's fun. I believe that sustainability should also be taken out of the corner of, well, we have to do this, we have to comply with the regulations, and it's a mandatory process. And if you think about it in detail, then you, well, really are quite aggravated about this. But it is nevertheless an extremely important topic, and it will decide how we will survive on this planet for the next generations. And therefore, in my opinion, it's extremely important to think about how you can differentiate yourself in the area of sustainability. How can you also create fun and happiness in your communities so that people don't only see sustainability as something boring, something that needs to be implemented, but rather as something that reflects your activities. I mean, you cover a huge range of different activities, and you can, for instance, tell your audience or your consumers that you are very special in this one area because that's where you're extremely good. It's important to get out of the regulatory range and deal with what makes you special with regard to sustainability. And now I'd like to continue with Vorwerk, because for us, sustainability is extremely important. As the Vorwerk Group, we've made huge progress. We have been carbon neutral for some time now in the area of production. We've intensively dealt with renewable energies. We have a very long service life of our products, very high level of durability. Although, of course, we would like to sell more products, but these are things that we deal with when it comes to sustainability. And I've been with the company since 2019, and we have a 2025 strategy, and which, by the way, has been very successful. And this has helped us achieve new records each year. 2023 was a very good year for the Vorwerk Group, after we had already reached record highs in 2021 and 2022. So we're pretty well positioned. And this 2025 strategy, we have dealt with sustainability at a very early stage. We really started early enough, but we were not always good in discussing the advantages or the areas where we are extremely good. We didn't really talk about it sufficiently. And in our strategy 2025, we very much dealt with the topic of sustainability. We said that sustainability is one of our field of actions. Thomas Heiduk is in charge of it. And we created awareness amongst our employees and amongst our community. And we also launched projects, many things that I, can only give you a few examples for. 2025 isn't too long to go, and 2024, we already, it's already May, and how do we want to develop sustainability in a strategic way at Vorwerk in the future? It may not be enough to focus on it as a field of action. We may have to go one step further and also consider whether sustainability should become one of our corporate values, and that would be a completely different statement. When I started discussing this, I met with a lot of critics about people who, were concerned and worried. And I said, why don't we just start discussing it first? Let's just simply start the debate. And let's try to define the differentiating factors. And we're just precisely in this process. I can't provide you with a result yet, but sustainability will definitely be moved from a field of action, but up to the level of a corporate value. But what we're still doing is trying to find areas where we can differentiate ourselves from others, not only at the level of our customers and staff, but also in the area of, how can we enthuse our employees? And those areas really go beyond what is legally required. I'm very interested in developing these topics further, and we are engaged in interviews with many stakeholders who were never really asked in the past. We asked them about their view of sustainability at Vorwerk. The answers that we got range from "we can do without it" down to "thanks for asking me, I have a lot of good ideas to share." And that doesn't only reflect the size of our organization, but also reality. Many people who are aggravated about this topic are involved in the process and have the opportunity to contribute their creativity. So today, this audience consists of many young startup entrepreneurs, but at Vorwerk, we often talk too much about products. Products are, of course, extremely important. I know that. But there's not one product in the world that is sold without people connecting. And I love our products. Products have a wow. If our products have a wow effect, a USP, they are especially designed for direct marketing, and they're extremely good. They're unparalleled. If you look at the Thermomix if we could produce the normal Thermomix for the normal retail business, it would be different. I mean, we don't want to do that, and we couldn't do that. But we're simply trying to find areas for us to differentiate. And so you have to deal with the question, why are we successful? And if you look at the strategy that we've pursued over the past few years and what has really made us more successful than other companies, like Miele's production has left Germany. That's not good news of family companies, but they're under a lot of pressure. We are also under pressure. We would like to commit to Wuppertal as a location, but that means that you have to reinvent yourself continuously. You have to be creative in order to, to survive, although you don't always have maximum or best support by politicians. Nevertheless, we would like to defend our location.
Then I'd like to address what you also spoke about, the people and the product. People are the reason why a product becomes successful. And any idea from a startup cannot be sold by itself. It doesn't work automatically. So early on in my professional life, I learned, I'm 53 years old, and I've experienced quite a lot, things that worked well and things that did not. Luckily, more things that work well, so you always have to look at the balance sheet. But an important phrase for me is people follow people. In my professional life, I've never followed markets or products. I always followed people who fascinated me because they represented something, because they were in their they were able to form networks, because they were able to develop people. And in so far, I'm totally convinced that not only we at Vorwerk, but also in general communities are much more important than the products, but at least they are important in order to make a placement of a product successful at all. So, and let me be honest and maybe think about how you do things in your company. It's something that you will not discuss sufficiently. I personally believe that most good product ideas failed because no one thought about how to sell them. And I know many examples of products also within Vorwerk that had been excellent, indisputably excellent, but still they did not work out. They failed. And why did they fail? Not because we were not able to explain the product or technically why it had to be successful, but still because we were not able to motivate the critical mass of people, both internally and externally, the customers backing our product. So, and that's how what is the foundation of our success in 2024. And so, of course, we continue to sell the same Thermomix that we launched in 2019 with a little bit of updates to the hardware, of course, and software. But why have we been able to continue while we have this success? Because step by step we managed to motivate our communities, our sellers, our distributors. And when I came to Vorwerk in 2019, we had 60,000 distributors regarding Vorwerk, in Vorwerk and Cobalt. If you do not expand this community, then you can launch a product every year. The product will not become more successful because this community doesn't grow. So at the end of a year, we agreed, we and my colleague, that we have to focus on the growth of our distributor base. We have 104,000 distributors by the end of 2023, and that's the reason for a success of a new product, because of the development of the people. And that's why we say we have to help them to develop and help the communities to develop. And that's my conviction and that's my experience. Focus on what I've just said. Invest money and time in people, in networks, And that's certainly one reason why direct selling. And 2 weeks ago, we had press conference regarding the annual statements, and journalists ask me again and again, how long will direct selling survive, because it's so old-fashioned. And I'm often laughing about it because I don't remember and don't know how to answer and do that step by step, because I tell them that they might not have understood how the business works, and that networking is the basis for the success in selling, and in particular in times of crisis, in particular when people refrain from buying, that then we need this capacity, the personal contact between distributor and customer, and that is the decisive and competitive edge. And it's not like in e-commerce. You cannot say, well, I put it into my basket and maybe it's too expensive. No, we are clearly focused on what we do. That is the people. So the person is an essential part of our success, and that's also something that might explain hindrances to buying too expensive, or rather that these hindrances, obstacles can be overcome. For example, the Thermomix is seen as rather expensive. I don't think so. I think it's a rather cheap product, but I don't want to go into detail on that. But imagine you went into Media Market or Saturn, that's the electronics markets, and so you go there and you're in kitchen devices, and Thermomix would be on the right-hand side as the most expensive product, and then 20 other devices. Hendrik showed us a nice chart on the workers' assembly, and then you ask yourself, is it a success, the Thermomix? Then the only criterion would be the price for the buying decision if you were in a simple electronics market, and the Thermomix would remain on the shelves. And just because of the personal contact, we have the phenomenon that the price is of subordinate importance. So I said it before, focus on people. Most are successful products were successful because of the connectedness between people and products. So this is something that in particular is true if it is excellently done. So think about that when you have an entrepreneurial spirit, and think about something else, a comparison. The worm has to be tasty to the fish and not tasty to the fisherman. That's the also part of the problem. We always look at things from the inside, but do not only get connected with the people inside your company and try to listen to them well and learn from them, but also an intensive customer contact, feedback, testing products beforehand, so that can be included in your product development. And then I guarantee to you that the probability of success is much higher and fun. Thank you very much.
Ja, wunderbar, lieber Stoff.
Wonderful, Dr. Stoffmehl, the person in the middle. You have been given an example that is extremely successful. We would wish our startups to follow your footsteps, and you said that regarding that some products fail because there was no thought given to how to sell them. And I'm remembering a contribution from Channing Roberts, and you might remember him. He had been here 2 weeks ago, this professor from Stanford, and he was enthusiastic and talked about how he supported a startup. Who is dedicated to tell house owners in California where the sun shines strongest and where solar panels can be installed. And they invested a few $10,000. And now, and then he said, we now have been able to sell that and for several millions. And they have been thinking about how to sell that in the end. We in Germany have a solar catastrophe register for several years. And we know where photovoltaic power would be very useful and very, very successful, but it's something no one was interested in, and it wasn't sold. And that is something that the connectedness between people is what explains the success of certain products. So thank you for being here, and thank you for the partners who support us, because and thank you to all the partners who support us, because without you as partners, we couldn't be successful and we couldn't do this. So that brings us to the first round of start-off pitches. We have formed 3 different categories for the start. First of all, we have alternative raw material, and so alternative feedstock. I might switch the material I use for making my product. Then we have orchestration of the value chain. So how can I bring together the different players along the value chain? And then we have chemical recycling. But we'll start with the startup from alternative feedstock, and they are dedicated in particular to the question of composite materials. So coated materials glued together, how can I make them in an eco-friendly manner? And I'm very much looking forward to our first speaker, Paul Münchenberg.
Switching to English. Hello, everyone. Well, my name is Paul, and at Circular Structures, we introduce circularity to the composite industry. This is me, 5 years ago, crossing the finish line of the Atlantic sailing across the Atlantic with 25 days at sea. As you can see, I love sailing. After this trip, I moved from Oldenburg to Berlin to study at the Technical University, and looking for a topic to write my bachelor's thesis about, I came across circular structures and eventually met its founder, Friedrich. He's a master boat builder by trade, and 13 years ago was looking for a way to combine high-performance boat building with a healthy material. The then go-to was glass fiber composite, the same material the boat I sailed across the Atlantic with is made of, which sucks to work with and is really hard to recycle. In this small garage in Bremen, he tried out, through lots of trial and error, eventually discovered natural flax fibers as a viable alternative and founded a boatyard specializing in its application. Realizing this material's vast potential across industries, he then created Circular Structures as a spin-off to introduce it to markets at scale. The very first time I saw his work, I knew I wanted to get involved. Structural composites, mostly made with glass fibers, are used in large quantities around the world. Due to their lightweight properties, industries such as wind energy, or aerospace, automotive, and marine have implemented them into their products for decades now, and demand is still growing. That's a little hiccup. Due to limited recycling options, the waste that's being created from this is mostly being processed into products of low value or ending up on the landfills, polluting the environment. This is a problem that we tackle not at the recycling end of a product life, but at its very beginning, the product design stage. We avoid waste, first, by introducing alternative raw materials of flax fibers and bio-based resins, reducing CO2 footprint by about 80%, and second, by enabling reuse of components through a modular design concept. Think of Lego blocks, the super long-lasting, colorful bricks we've all built cool things out of. You wouldn't throw them away after having used them just for the first time, would you? What we're offering is a Lego-inspired toolkit for circular products consisting of long-lasting natural fiber panels and frames. Why do we use two-dimensional panels only? Because they're widely used across industries and therefore a lot easier to reuse. This approach further allows for the automation of processes, adaptability of product design, and ease disassembly at end of life. For market entry, we're focusing on joint ventures for premium and high-margin products. Partnering with industry experts, we don't want to just supply materials, but also develop a long-term partnership around panel-based biocomposite products, their return and eventual reuse. This off-road camper van is the first product having been built fully under our Circular Structures concept and is already on the road. For this motorboat, we're currently in the product design stage for the production of a first prototype. Between 2011 and 22, our mother company developed and proved the material's capability to match the performance of glass fiber. Last year, we scaled panel production through automated manufacturing for the first time and are right now launching first products through joint ventures and are looking to expand this into further market segments. After setting up initial joint ventures manually, we plan to then streamline the process and eventually move into the trading of reusable composites, fulfilling our mission of making circular composite solutions available to markets at scale. We're looking for joint venture partners and investors to extend our runway. If you're interested in making circular composite products with a panel-based reuse approach, or know someone who might be, we would love to talk. My name is Paul, and together with my colleague Paul as well, we're here all evening, looking very much forward to meeting you. This is Circular Structures. Thank you very much.
Tolle Geschichte. Da fährt er als 18-Jähriger mit anderen über den Atlantik, ja, ist begeisterter Segler und trifft dann jemanden, der solche Segelboote herstellt.
Then you meet someone who is interested in building boats and thinking about materials and how damaging for the environment they are, and how damaging glass fibers in particular are, and you process them. And then he came up with this product. Now we stick to alternative products that many of you will have at home, I'm sure. For example, this flower foam where you put flowers in, and you might not think about even that there is even a problem. But Irene from Bangkok had been thinking about it, and he knows it not only from her studies, but also from her practical job. She is a florist. So welcome, Irene.
Hello, my name is Irene. I am the co-founder and material designer of Flower Matter. And at Flower Matter, we love flowers. I personally love flowers so much that I became a florist myself. However, the more I get to see what's going on behind the scene in the industry, the more I learn that the industry itself is not quite sustainable. Basically, as you can see here, flowers are super pretty. It can be as pretty as you imagine, especially with the help of floral foam that is hidden inside. Floral foam, you can see one right here, is a very common and an essential part of flower design. However, the traditional foam that they are using right now is made of plastic polymer like phenol formaldehyde. So every time you use it, you use a block of plastic. And every time you soak it in water, it leaks microplastic out. This caused a major environmental issue for the flower industry and causing forests and companies to look for alternatives. Cut flowers themselves are also a problem because flowers are so fresh, they have such a short lifespan. Around 40% of the commercially grown flowers are thrown away in landfills even before reaching consumer hands like us. This means that each year, several thousand tons of flower waste piles up in cities around the world. In the case of Bangkok, where I am from, I am very familiar because I run a flower right in the Bangkok flower market. We have about 10,000 tons of flower waste that are not properly captured every year. Flower Matter is very concerned about these issues, so with our technology, we connect the two issues together by first, we recycle flowers into flower fiber, and with the fiber, we then turn them into our innovative product, biofloral foam. Biofloral foam is essentially the eco-friendly alternative of the plastic foam that they are using right now. It is lightweight, water absorbent, and able to retain moisture for days, just like the plastic one could. Our business model starts from offering a circular waste management service to those businesses who are right now throwing away large quantity of flowers and needs to pay a fee to throw them away. We capture the waste either from flower market wholesalers, floral boutiques, or event organizers, and then we turn them into fiber and our foam. And then we circulate the foam back into the market by selling them to forests and the end users. This way, we can reduce the amount of flower waste and then also avoid the need to extract extra virgin material to produce the foam at the same time. The potential of flower matter has been proven through various awards and exhibitions. For example, we were the winner of the new European Bauhaus Prize by the European Commission. And last year, we received our startup stipendium from the Berlin government. Right now, we are looking for further investment to actually activate the development of biofuel foam. So join us in our journey, whether you are someone with flowers, investors, development partners, or if you're just curious to know more about us and the foam. Feel free to come to us. We will be here the whole night. Yes, together we can make a beautiful difference. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Irene. That is very inspiring. Wenn wir die Hunderten von Bewerbungen aus aller Welt bekommen, dann fällt es uns manchmal natürlich, das werden Sie nachvollziehen können, sehr, sehr schwer auszusuchen. Und es ist einfach so faszinierend zu sehen, wo auf diesem Planeten man sich mit welchen Fragestellungen beschäftigt. Und der nächste junge Mann kommt aus Kairo in Ägypten und der hat sich gefragt, wie kann man denn Holzpaneele anders herstellen. Ich will jetzt nicht zu viel vorwegnehmen, ich könnte mich in Begeisterung reden, aber begrüßen Sie.
Too much, but please welcome Mohamed Akafari.
Mohamed.
Good evening. My name is Mohamed Kafafi, the founder and the CEO of Agrona. Back to 2015, when I started to enroll to my master's study in Ain Shams University, the second oldest university in the Middle East and Africa, I went to my professor, Dr. Hamid al-Mosli. He's the father of the palm tree, they call him that. I went to his office and we went to discussion. We realized that 2/3 of the poverty in Egypt and all Africa, it's based in rural areas. And to solve this, we need to provide new source of income for those people. Then we draw a matrix in Dr. Hamid's office for all agricultural residues and their utilization. We found that many agriculture wastes are underutilized or entirely unutilized. Then from this insight, we come up with idea, if we can build engineered products out of this unutilized agriculture waste, we can raise their standard of living. From this point, we started Agrona, not only for solving a local problem, but as well for a global problem, as I'm going to show you right now. 2 billion trees are cut down every year just to supply the furniture and construction industries with the raw materials, making deforestation the second leading cause of climate change. In Agrona, we solved that. We made wood without cutting a single tree. We're not only protecting forests, but we're also saving the Earth's gruesome amount from carbon dioxide emissions by stop burning the agriculture waste to turn it into composite panels that could be used in many furniture and construction applications. Here's a quick demo how the process goes. Farmers collect the raw material, send it to our facility. We manufacture by our patent technology, get the board in shape. The board is eco-friendly, 100% plant-based resin. We're not using any petroleum carcinogenic resin. And the product comply with the European standard, and guess what? It's a very profitable business. For every ton of the agri-waste that we use in our operations, we can save 3 trees somewhere in this world that produce the same amount of wood, and we can also avoid 0.6 tons of CO2 emissions from burning those waste, and we can also provide 6 decent jobs in rural areas. But why would you choose us? Among the competition, we are providing the most affordable, sustainable, and high-quality panels among our regional and global competition. Just in a nutshell, if you look to this table, the nature of the tree compared to the agri-waste, when you compare both the moisture content in the tree, sometimes 10 times of the agricultural waste. So we are saving a lot of fuel consumption here, as well as we are not using carcinogenic resin, unlike the competition. Since 2021, we were able just from a pilot facility in Egypt to produce and sell 10,000 panels that generated $70K and saved 1,500 trees till now. And we are working in Egypt, but we see the global market. It's $175 billion, where the German market is $6 billion, and we aim to acquire 10% market share in the coming 10 years. Why Germany? 30 million tons of agricultural waste in Germany. Our plan is to come here to license our technology by having a flagship facility at the beginning, using these resources to produce 120K panels per year to generate 1 million euros and to save 20,000 trees. Behind this is an amazing team of collective work experience in manufacturing sustainability field in many global entities. Please join us, Sustainable Materials for Sustainable Future. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Mohammed. Also ich finde das völlig faszinierend, als er uns die Geschichte erzählt hat.
It was fascinating. He studied engineering, and then he went to his professor's office, and they dealt with the alternative agricultural residues, and that was really the starting point. Sometimes you just simply understand something, and then it goes from that. If you understand that the water content of tomato residues is considerably lower after it has been dried, much lower than in wood, meaning that you need much less energy when processing the material. These are just the small things that make you understand. Now, let us continue with alternative feedstock and continue with Upcyde and the question of how plant residue can be used for not just producing wood panels, but also alternative leather or packaging material. And for this, I would like to welcome Mike Arun from Upcyde.
Never mind. Good evening, everyone. My name is Mal, CEO and co-founders of Upcyde. Why we can't eat this? We try to, explore why we can't eat the banana peels, and that question led us to think how much of the waste generated nowadays, and what is the existing solution that manages this kind of waste. And we found a significant amount of money spent, 85 billion euros yearly in Europe, to solve the problem of the waste management. At Upcyde, we found a better way to handle it. We are game changers by rethinking and simplifying and combine science and creativity to create a solution to convert the agricultural and food waste into valuable materials. We can help you save money through our Upcyde biotechnologies and Agrona task, which is our prototype process to convert the agricultural waste into value materials. And this technology and solution recurring our revenue model. The first one is to sell our raw material to fashion brands and other industries such as automotive and furniture. And the second revenue model is the subscription service for agricultural and food processing manufacturers. And here is our circular model. We add value for the waste for the agricultural processing manufacturers. And we bring these materials into the organized and the brand that really need this. And at the end, the amount of this money will turn to the agricultural processing manufacturers. And our organization certified by B Corp to prove that the way we operate our business is great for environment, social, and workers. And here is the significant traction that proving that our solution is meet our client need. And here is some of the photos of the project we did with our client in the various industries. I would like to say thank you to the Upsiders with the diverse background and engineers, design, and with the networking and knowledge from the university around the world, Thailand, Denmark, Italy, and Germany. Differentiate us. Science, design, upcycle. This is what who we are. And today, I would like to invite you to join our mission and to rethink the way to manage the waste. We believe that if we work together with partner and client, that would be the solution for the better world. And here is some of the results when we work with our client. We create the value 10x to the waste. We help our client generate the new revenue stream, and we save the cost of waste management. Because the world is upside down, by partnering with us, we can make the world right side up. Thank you.
So, vielen Dank. So, zwei noch im ersten Block. Wir wechseln jetzt das Thema und gehen zum Thema.
The topic, and we'll continue with the value chain and the organization. And I hope that the next speaker, Elisa Alonso, will be able to talk about her motivation and why she started this startup and why they did exactly what they're doing now. Elisa from Spain, warm welcome to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Growing up, my family told me to never waste food. I remember the struggle of having to finish in my plate, even when I was full or I didn't like the meal. These lessons stay with me, and as I grew older, I realized that a big part of this waste also happens long before the supply chain. Millions of tons are lost in the supply chain due to lack of management and lack of visibility. This realization made me quite mad, and I knew I had to act. That's what inspired me to become part of CL Circular, where we become these issues with our devices. Just so you have an idea of how big this problem is, over 2.2 billion of tons of cargo travel by sea worldwide every year. And all of these face more or less the same problems. We don't know where, how the cargo is, or when it will arrive, and a lot of unexpected things happen. You can already purchase single-use IoT sensors for logistics that provide real-time information, but these are expensive. Around 50 euros each. They work for vaccines, electronics, and high-value products, but not for the most common and most transported products like bananas, onions, potatoes, and this stuff. So no real-time data is gathered to prevent problems and digitalize the supply chains. So this is our mission, making real-time visibility affordable to save every kind of cargo and digitalize this kind of supply chains. To be affordable, we rent our sensors instead of selling them. First, our customers attach the sensors to their cargo. Then, the devices start monitoring temperature, humidity, door openings, shocks, together with geoposition. Some of our clients are worried about temperature, others are about geolocation. To keep them informed, we send the data to our collaborative platform, where you can see all the information in real time, receive alerts to prevent problems, and also, we can upload the data to our platform. As you see, this information is relevant not only for the food industry, but also for chemicals, pharmaceuticals, and more products. Once the sensor arrives to destination, we recover and reuse the sensors. It's us, it's CL Circular, who retrieves the devices at final destination to reuse them again with other customers. For this, we have a patent that ensures confidentiality even if different customers use the same devices. This way, we manage to offer a good price, comparing the cost by half to other single-use devices. And for doing so, we're a team of 38, present in 11 countries. We've monitored over 80,000 trips, and this year we'll monitor over 100,000 trips. This year, we've launched our new platform together with our new hardware, and we've raised over 1 million euros. We have a proven business model with recurrent customers that pay us per trip or on a monthly basis. We have a gross margin over 70% and are able to recover over 85% of our devices. Our current ARR is 1.5 million, and we've been doubling that number. Our customers are big companies like Del Monte, Walmart, or Dole. At the moment, we're seeking to grow our business with new customers, new investors, and cooperation for new development of our technology. For that, we're raising 2.5 million euros to speed up our growth and to keep investing in new services. Thank you very much. I'm Melissa Alonso from CL Circular, where we rent IoT sensors to save every kind of cargo. I invite you to explore with us potential collaboration as customers or investors.
Vielen Dank, Elisa. Und ich glaube, viele von Ihnen haben sich zu Beginn Ihrer Präsentation auch an
You might have remembered your own childhood. You always had to eat your plate, finish your plate, didn't you? And when you finish your plate, when you eat everything up, you become an adult, and then suddenly you realize that a lot of food gets lost during transport, during shipping. Wouldn't it be great to have a sensor in the Del Monte container which measures the temperature, etc.? So my personal experience and the overall universal global problem moving from one to another is really quite interesting. Now, Aaron Handricke from ContainerGrid is going to deal with the topic of how different sources of material can be brought together so that eventually you have a product that can be sold more effectively and more successfully. Aaron, a warm welcome to you.
It's great to see so many people, and thanks for taking the time. So my name is Aaron Handricke from ContainerGrid, and you see me as a 10-year-old actually getting my Christmas presents, but taking the paper and folding it back into its initial form and giving it back, handing it back to my parents. So imagine a world where we can enable industrial conglomerates, Knorr, Bremse, Siemens Energy, Hitachi Energy, the large automotive OEMs, to actually take back the resources, the waste that they put into the world. So 4 years ago, my team and I started with the mission to enable OEMs, enable large conglomerates better access to recycled material. And the batteries reaching end of life will increase from 1,000 kilotons to 20,000 kilotons over the next 15 years. So the situation is horrific. They're not finding the industrial production again. Okay, how do we actually connect A to B? How do we connect all these small batteries at the end of life back into the production process? If you ask a procurement manager, he says, I need certified qualities consistently, and I need large volumes of recycled lithium. Each recycling process is different. There's a lot of recycling scrap traders to buy material from. So literally what we are actually missing right now is an Uber for these recycled material. To explain what we have done so far, we have built a solution for waste management and recycling SMB, really gained expertise into what's happening after waste collection, and now taking it to the next step, enabling manufacturers to procure recycled material cost effectively. How do we do that? Three values that we bring. One, we centralize recycling across many waste producing facilities. Then two, we orchestrate material flows. We actually enforce where these materials go, where these materials are recycled, and thereby enable you as industrial manufacturer access to these recycled material at scale. Here you see a value chain diagram of how we are acting, and on the right side you see Evonik actually actually expanding into battery recycling and not knowing how to get to these end-of-life batteries. On the left side, you see the many automotive OEMs producing end-of-life batteries, their customers. So why don't we invite the automotive OEM customers into a take-back contract, then orchestrate the value chain to enforce recycling process quality, Evonik positioning its recycling technologies in the process, and thereby enable Evonik to sell to automotive OEM. How does our business model work? Well, on the left side, we take a cut for successfully taken back recycled or recycling feedstock or recycled material into manufacturing. And we're taking a certain part of the recycling contracts that we're aggregating or centralizing. We're positioning ourselves as a logistics platform across the regional materials and transport marketplaces as an aggregation, as a platform aggregating material flows. My team on the business side, with a strong network in VC towards PE, having studied at #1 business schools and built unicorns before on the engineering side. We are currently building MVP prototype with automotive OEM as well as energy tier 1 system suppliers, and therefore looking forward to close the loop and happy to get connected. Thank you very much.
Ja, vielen Dank. Ja, lieber Aaron, ich glaube...
Well, Aaron, I think you are developing a competence that many of us will need. We always notice that when we talk to you during the cooperation projects or talks about that, there's always the question, how do you get from A to B, and how to make sure that one man's waste is turned into one man's treasure. It's not something a single person can solve alone, but all together and with the fresh new ideas of the young people who participate in just such cooperation project, well, that could be successful. Now we have prepared a little video for you. We did it, we made it last year regarding the question of what happens with wind turbines, hundreds of thousands of wind turbines, because at the end of their life cycle they have to build back, demolished, and we feel that this video has become a very nice film, and that's why we have it in between the two presentation blocks. And if you wish, you can also get something to drink in between doing the film, and in around about 15 minutes we'll continue. And so far I'd say, well, enjoy the film.
Windpark Wohlbedacht im Paderborner Land.
This is a wind park in Paderborn. You can experience spectacularly what the changing energy sources mean in practice. After 20 years, this wind turbine will be demolished and replaced by a new one that produces 3 times as much power, so-called repowering. Just one of 6 towers that are being exchanged here, because room for new wind turbines is rare, and this means a lot of work for demolishing the old tower. We have around about 6,000 to 8,000 towers that have to be removed, and I think at least half of that will come on top of it every year. Towers or wind turbines that have to be improved or removed. In 2030, the government wishes to double the power from wind turbines, and since old turbines have to be removed, there is also more waste. 90% can be reused. Steel and copper are no problem, and seldom earth or manganese that are used in some generators There is, however, no real recycling possible that would be cost efficient. The biggest problem are the rotor blades that hardly have any new use, says this engineer, pioneer for this industry in Germany. Well, rotor blades go into the cement industry as a fuel, and they, of course, substitute other fuels, but the glass fiber material that, of course, goes into the cement clinker, where it is not actually used. It's disposed of course, but it's not really a good type of disposal. There will certainly be better things. Until 2030, the environmental offer thinks there will be 20,000 tons of waste from rotor blades, and even 50,000 tons until 2050. And they're actually too good for burning, because the rotor blade consists of large amounts of high-tech material, in particular glass and carbon fiber. The entrepreneur Holger Sacher from Saxony wishes to change that. He wishes to use the rotor blade for totally new products. And this idea came up here in these fields because I walk my dogs here and I have time to look around, and I saw the rotor blades lying around here, and I thought that something better can be made with them instead of leaving them here lying on the field. And in concrete, this means Holger Sasse feels that rotor blades are not waste, but the raw material for tomorrow, or the feedstock for tomorrow, or even from today. So we'll look at the raw material plant in Aschersleben. Here, the material is shredded, made of glass fiber and epoxy resin, and in a patented way of process, it's fed back into a process that forms eco-friendly terrace panels, and it's produced with the electric power from the roof. Yes, we designed the products in such a way right from the start that they can be circular, and they have to be kept in the circle. And we have used contracts of 30 years. That's our term. So after 30 years, we take the product back. Let's assume this. So you can then turn them into 10 times. You can turn them into new products. So this carbon can be used for 300 years without any loss, and thus be kept in the circle. And what is important about that is that the material has to be healthy. So all the materials, or the content is analyzed, and the harmful substances are separated, like pesticides. It's a market that win back raw material and to use them for creating new feedstock. And the basis is always that the material must be healthy. So all the ingredients have to be defined, because the products that is not healthy in terms of its material cannot be kept in the circle. So that's the basis of circularity, or a circular economy. Material must be healthy. But so far, processing the rotor blade is rather difficult. Often the components can only be separated with a high effort from each other. And in order to change that, large producers of wind turbines like Siemens, for example, are looking for new ways. They build so-called recyclable blades that can be taken apart into their individual components much more easily, and they enable a full use of them. Until 2030, that is supposed to be achieved. So the Fraunhofer Institute investigates this as well, and in addition to the material of the rotor blades, they use a thermal process the material from rotor blades, that is really a field of application for a thermal process. The pyrolysis, air is excluded and thermal heat is applied, and that makes sure that the plastic matrix dissolves and the glass fibers can be released, so we can win them back, recover the glass fiber and may turn it into new products, and the glass fiber can also be condensed, and with this oil then new products can be made. The iCycle technology, this is shown here in this research institute. These are going to be building blocks, and at the end you get the basic chemicals, phenol, for example, and in a virgin quality. If we manage to keep the product cycle, the material cycle closed, then we really avoid waste. That's one advantage. And then we have a really high quality reuse of the materials. And at the latest, in 5 years, we will be in this on the market, also large scale. Yes. Rotor blades at the end of their life as a source for totally new products and feedstock that is fed back into the circle again and again. Great. Only the glass and carbon fiber and the carbons cannot be turned into new rotor blades, so there's still room for improvement. But what about the other parts of the tower? The concrete, for example. This is the largest part of a wind turbine. These are many, many tons, the foundation and the tower itself. We are at the wind park in Gevensleben, Lower Saxony, and we see preparations here for blowing this tower apart. And but because here other towers are to be installed that have a higher power. So it's repowering again, only a few seconds, and thus blows the tower down. 400,000 reinforced concrete are laying around on the floor. But what to do with that now? Well, we take it out, we mill it, we then powder it, and it's broken down in an installation for that purpose to a size 0.45, and we then drive it to the wind park and use it for foundations, for cranes, for example. That's the standard how this is reused. It sounds good. It is actually, but it can be improved because this concrete, torn down concrete, can also be used for new materials. This building, for example, is made with our concrete, so recycled concrete or resource-saving concrete. An important feedstock is from here, only a few kilometers away from the company Fies. The family company is a pioneer regarding the recycling of building material. From demolition material, the workers produce the right grains for the reinforced concrete. So from concrete and demolition waste, we form a grain that can replace what we usually use in concrete production. We do not have to take stones from quarries, etc. And we are transporting much less concrete or stones or and the company Fies supplies to 30 concrete plants in the region. That's a good example, and it could be done everywhere in Germany because there is always a supply. We have 20,000 mineral construction materials that we produce every year in the Federal Republic of Germany. That's 45% of the overall waste volume, and of these 220 million tons, at least half, or rather 70%, is high-quality material that we can turn into building material again. As in the concrete company in Neckarhafen. Here, You see the demolition material which is prepared and then mixed with certain ingredients, and it's made into our concrete. Here it is tested, pressure resistance and other features, and he says there's no difference. Just one large part of the material is nowadays from recycled material. At most, you can replace 45% of the material by recycled material from demolition waste. That's quite a lot. Yes, absolutely. So now the concrete plant supplies almost all its customers with our concrete. It can well be more. For the regional head, Mr. Eichler, it is clear demolished towers from wind turbines would also make for an excellent raw material. It is a pure concrete from the wind turbines, and in particular high quality concrete. These had been concretes with high stability, and in turn that is turned into very good material. Of course, you could use it one-to-one, again for building wind turbines for the enormous foundations, for example, or later for the towers. The concrete thus saves valuable resources, but it doesn't solve all the problems, because the climate harmful concrete cement cannot be replaced. Only if CO2 is avoided, then concrete can really become green. CO2 emissions. Let's summarize. Expanding wind energy requires large amounts of raw material, while at the same time there is a high amount of waste, and this waste can be used one-to-one as a feedstock for new wind turbines, but also offers a lot of potential for other uses, and that's a chance that we should use as a tailwind for changing our energy sources and the circular economy.
Von Lutz Polans und Kintop-Film, die uns auch seit mittlerweile 3 Jahren begleiten.
I really like this.
Das ist das große Privileg, das wir haben, dass halt so viele Partner.
And we've been working together with this film team for many, many years, and it's really great that such a video is possible, and we've been able to work with our partners, Kintop. And a new topic that we have been working with is the topic of chemical recycling. About 300 million tons of plastics are produced each year. A lot of this is reused through mechanical recycling. Some of it is burned. And what we would like to understand is whether the share that can be chemically recycled, broken down into its basic substances, and how it can be reused. How does it work? What are the most forward-looking options? How can the industry and these startups work together? Now, let's continue with the first startup. Alexander Krämer and Green Dot from Munich are dealing with the question of what technologies are viable in addition to pyrolysis. Alexandre, I'm looking forward to your presentation.
Thanks. And it's great to go just after this movie, because now you all know what chemical recycling is about, and that's really what I'm going to talk about right now. So plastic, as you probably seen in the video, but also just look around you, is everywhere. We use it every day, but what happens to it at the end of its life? We've seen in that video, but you probably knew that already, over 90% of plastic today is not being recycled. It ends up in landfill, incinerators, or worse, polluting the environment. But what you may not know is why are recycling rates so low. First, recycling technology are falling short. They struggle with the reality of mixed and contaminated plastic waste. Second, and we also saw that in the video, for the few plastic items that we can actually recycle, the quality of the plastic we produce is too low to make high performance and everyday plastic product. However, things are changing. Regulatory pressure is increasing, meaning that recycled content targets are becoming the norms in industry. What does it mean? It means that plastic producers, product manufacturers, and brands have to increase the amount of recycled plastic that they put in their products. However, industry is not ready because recycling technologies are falling short and there is not enough recycled content material of high quality on the market. My name is Alexandre Kremer. I'm the co-founder of Radical Dot, and this is exactly the problem that we are trying to solve in the next few years. At Radical Dot, we are scaling a chemical recycling technology that transforms waste, which today is called unrecyclable, into key chemical building blocks. So really what we do is that we take plastic, which today cannot be recycled, we put it through our two-step proprietary process. We produce two main chemicals, which we can then feed to the chemical industry, which is over a 400 billion industry, to make virgin quality plastics that can go back into the circle. We are really the missing link to create closed plastic-to-plastic circular loops. Our technology is fundamentally different from the other chemical recycling technology you might have heard of. You might have heard of the pyrolysis, which we've seen in the video. You might have heard of gasification, depolymerization, solvent-based recycling. Our technology just breaks through and is fundamentally different from all of this. And there is 4 reasons for that. The first one is we are a feedstock agnostic technology, meaning that we can deal with the reality of mixed and contaminated plastic waste. Second, our technology is based on scalable technologies and chemistry which has been used by the industry for decades, and therefore is intrinsically cost competitive. Third, our technology is energy efficient. We operate a catalytic process at low temperature, meaning that we need little external energy. Fourth, we are producing virgin quality chemicals. What does that mean? That means that in turn, we can produce high quality plastic products for everyday application. As of today, we are based in the Technical University of Munich, where we developed a proof of concept. We are handling our patent next month, and we will be fundraising later this year. We are looking for partners which can help us take this technology from the laboratory to an industrial process. Might be engineering company which have the engineering skills to scale up such technology. Brands are product manufacturers which want to increase the amount of recycled content plastic into their product, or any company that is producing plastic waste which they don't know what to do with. So don't hesitate to come and talk to us later today. I'm here with my co-founder, Andreas Wagner, and we will be more than happy to help us to help you, so we can. So next time you're throwing some plastic away, you can make sure that we are on track to actually recycle it. Thank you.
Vielen Dank. Ja, wir können euch nur wünschen und uns allen wünschen, dass das funktioniert. Freue mich schon auf die Gespräche, Jens, Christoph oder Helmut, die ihr da tiefer reinschaut, die ihr das...
You who are the experts, well, will be certainly interested in talking to you. Now we're going to continue with chemical recycling again. And what can we do? How can we produce hydrogen carbonates from mixed residential waste? Gonzalo is from Spain, and he's going to speak to us now.
Well, hello everyone. I am Gonzalo Izquierdo from BluePlasma Power, and I'm going to share with you some problems that I'm sure some of your company have. Let's start with the first one, the generation of waste. You know, everyone knows the cost and the difficulties because some of the waste we are generating goes to the landfill or to the incineration. So it is a problem in order to be circular. Second one, the dependency on fossil energy and fossil-based raw materials. Many companies can decarbonize as long as they have green energy and green raw materials. So this is our solution. It's a patented technology in Europe, United States, Japan, and what we do is converting the complex waste into these two products. Hydrogen, CO2-free hydrogen, I mean, it is important because it's a sort of renewable energy, and circular carbonates. Carbonates like soda ash, caustic soda, sodium bicarbonate, up to 80% CO2 footprint reduction. This is very important in order to decarbonize many sectors. So what we do is this. We start in the customer, and instead of managing this waste and going to the landfill or incineration, what we do is convert it into these two products. The hydrogen can be utilized in order to reduce the fossil energy that nowadays you are utilizing, and on the other side, because we capture the CO2 of our process and we convert it into these carbonates, soda ash and blah blah. So it is it's a way to reduce the CO2 footprint of the many industries like glass, detergents, paper, chemicals for sure. So nowadays, where we are, we have good technology, very good technology. We are in TRL67. We have experience operating our demo plant for more than 1,000 hours, operating many different kinds of feedstocks, even mixed, plastics, paper, textiles, oils, biomass, all together, solid digestate for the biomethane plants forever. So, and what we do for the customers is taking the waste at the best price, at a better price than today, and we deliver the carbonates and the hydrogen at a very market competitive price. So we have tractions, letter of interest of many industries. Maybe you can see yourself in one of these groups, glass, paper, biomethane, chemical distributors, chemical producers, waste managers. So we are in a finance round in order to build and operate our first industrial plant, 24/7. And everything has been done thanks to a very well-balanced team, a lot of experience, commitment like, you don't imagine how. So if you have complex waste, if you want to decarbonize and be circular, please contact us. Thank you very much.
Wunderbar, wir bleiben noch etwas beim chemischen
Wonderful.
Recycling.
Now let's continue with chemical recycling and continue with Chile. There's a young company there that says they need a lot of graphite for the batteries that are going to be built worldwide. And at the same time, we have 1 billion of old tires that contain a lot of graphite. How can the demand for graphite and the supply be brought together? I'd like to welcome José Díaz from Chile.
Thank you. Hello? Yeah. Hi, everybody. I'm from Chile. Many people think that Chile is the last distant country in the world. Actually represent the beginning in the energy transition for us. Did you know that Chile has the most one of the most important lithium reserve, this material plays a crucial role in the energy storage technology. Let me say a question. Did you know that the demand of the raw material in energy storage technology is expected to increase up to 300% by 2030? Last question. Did you know that each year we produce 1 billion of end-of-life tires globally? However, some recycled technology miss traceability in their waste product, like a carbon black or carbon material. We have found a solution for this problem. My name is Bernardita Diaz. I am CEO and co-founder of T-Phite. T-Phite is a chemical technology that transforms the end-of-life tire waste from recycled technology like a pyrolysis, gasification, or incineration into new raw material that can be used in different energy storage technology like a sodium battery or lithium-ion battery or supercapacitor. Our current yield from a truck tire is 4 kilograms of T-Phite, means 200 battery, cylindrical battery is like used in the Tesla e-vehicle. Imagine if we can collect all tires in the worldwide, we could supply 35% in the anodic material market. This market is valued at $21 billion by 2030. Now, I would like to present my team, which combine different skills like science, innovation, sustainability, and economy, but with only objective, advancing in circular economy. Finally, I would like to share with you our main achievement in the last month. We have raised the first capital investment from US venture capital. In this sense, I invite you to join with T-Phite and make a strategic partnership where tires never get tired. Thank you.
Das war doch ein tolles Wortspiel. When tires never get tired. So,
that was a nice play on words. When tires never get tired. Now, let's continue with trucks that also need tires, and we know that we will probably need trucks for a long period of time. However, they emit a lot of carbon emissions and cannot use batteries. You probably might know the test distance from Frankfurt to Darmstadt, and I've never seen an electrical truck on this test route. And the next question that is being addressed is whether there may be an additional kit that you could add to trucks and that could be used to capture the carbon emissions in order to use them for another purpose. When we saw that first, we thought that this might be a bit too futurist, but the more we looked into it, the more realistic we thought this idea was. Now, we look forward to Vita Kumar Sota.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I'm happy to introduce today the Qaptis company. Qaptis is the company which provides the mobile carbon capturing solutions for the land and sea vehicles. My name is Mitul Kumar, and I'm leading the engineering vertical at the Qaptis. 18 years in aerospace engineering, mostly designing the aero engine. Now I'm moving towards the sustainability and designing the engines which doesn't require the fuel at all. And that's combined with the CO2 capturing technology. So it feels like the moon landing for us. So the primary focus for the Qaptis is heavy-duty vehicles. At this moment, we are focusing next 3 years to develop the system for the heavy-duty vehicle. The reason behind it, there are 6.5 million heavy-duty vehicles on the European roads. Can we convert into the green trucks? Seems like impossible, right? Difficult? Certainly. Let's see some hard facts about these vehicles. 10% global emissions, 41% of the fuel consumption in transportations, and if we stop these vehicles today, it will take more than 25 years to decarbonize this whole 6.5 million heavy-duty trucks. We have the idea that there is EVs and hydrogen trucks already running on the roads. What is the contribution for that? We are already having 6.5 million heavy-duty trucks having the primary fuel as a diesel. We can't replace them immediately. EVs and hydrogen trucks doesn't provide the retrofitting solutions for this existing fleet. At the same time, it's required new infrastructure for the fueling. And EV and hydrogen trucks, the cost is almost 3 times more than the diesel trucks. Let's move towards the Qaptis technology and how we are going to convert these diesel trucks into the green trucks. We work on the point source capturing technology, where we have a direct access to the CO2 concentration up to 300%. Our system is, as you can see, that this system is just behind the cabin. It's very light in weight. It's only covered the space of 1.5 meter by 1.5 meters. It works on the 3 simple steps: efficient heat recovery from the exhaust gases, selective CO2 capture, and compression and storage on board. Now the question comes to us that what we will do after capturing the CO2. We have the strategy in place with the partner companies. Here is the example of the Switzerland, where you can see that we are partnered with the gas companies and offloading those captured CO2 tanks, offload it and refit it with the empty tanks. And how it's going to benefit the logistic company and Qaptis clients. First, we use the CO2 capture for the sequestrations. We get the tax refund and the carbon credits. We go to the CO2 market, where we can sell the CO2 for the chemical industries, food and beverage, and e-fuels, while making sure that the entire CO2 capturing cost is remain under the 80 euro per ton of the CO2. And how it's going to benefit the logistic company? Profits in transportations, massive reductions in the emissions, at the same time, long-term competitiveness towards the net zero targets, and market access as well. Our vision, in 2023, we completed our first proof of concept, and this year in 2024, we conducted almost close to 250 tests to optimize each and every component of the carbon capture to the next level. Next year, we are going for the MVP on board with our partner company based in Switzerland, which owns around 300 plus heavy-duty vehicles. In 2026, we are going for the industrializations, and 2028, we are going for the expansions. While the expansion is taking place, we already received a lot of tractions from the industries, other segment of the industries like the generators, marine, and also the locomotives. So we'll start focusing on those areas for the business continuity point of view. Last word about the Qaptis. We raised 1.3 million in the pre-seed round, 800,000 euros into the grants and awards. We have an advisor from the Cargill, Blackwood, YB Startups, and Plug and Play. We started our seed round this year in March. We are expecting to raise around 2 million to accelerate this whole decarbonization systems towards the next level. 70% of this funding is going for the R&D activity and 30% towards the operations, sales, and the admin activities. As my name is Mitul Kumar, you can reach out to me for if you have any technical questions, if you are looking for the investing in our companies. I'm ready to discuss with you after these presentations. Thank you very much for your attention.
Das ist doch völlig faszinierend, oder? Und diese
It's really fascinating, and this story, 20 years he has been engineer for engines, A380, Boeing 777, so aviation NG. So he was the quality engineer in even. So he knows about compression and at the end CO2 production, the emissions. And now he says he wants to capture it again, and the procedure is using the exhaust air that has 350 degrees, so it's quite warm still, and so you capture this energy and turn this process around. So there is a material that's like a sponge and takes out the CO2, and it has then to be compressed and goes into the big gas bottles. And I think it's fascinating, and Mittal, I think it's very nice that you've changed your path in your career. Now we have two topics from alternative feedstock. Savish Bodda is looking into the question how bio-based coatings from agricultural waste be used, and he will present his vision with his company Sustanix.
Thank you, Carsten. Good evening, everyone. Plastic is something we all talked about. I mean, like, in fact, some of my fellow co-founders also talked about plastic. There's been 5 major legislations against plastic and against banning plastics, right, in the last 4 years. Now, when you ban something, you need an alternative for it, right? What is the alternative then? Well, it's probably paper. Paper is a wonderful material. The reason being, it's 100% natural. Almost 90% of paper is made in Europe, and out of that, 85% is recycled. In fact, Europe is the biggest recycler of paper. But it comes with a small problem. There's always a but. Like, actually, for this slide, I have a funny point of view, actually. You know, like, one time my father announced in the house that if there is any food cooked in a non-stick pan, then he's not going to eat that food, because he found out that there's PFAS in non-stick pans. I said, Dad, there's a problem. Actually, even paper has PFAS. And he was like, what? My life is a lie? The funny thing is that paper has almost 10% of plastic in it. It can be in the form of latex, like styrene, butadiene, polyethylene, in different ways. And it's actually much more susceptible to migrate into our food or drinks. Now, there has been solution that has been going on for a long time. And in fact, I think for almost 25 years. There are some fundamental reasons why these solutions are failing. One, it's quite expensive. I mean, like, when you talk about PLA, then it's like almost 3 to 5 times expensive. No one is going to replace a plastic with something that is 3 to 5 times expensive. I'm also not going to buy it. It doesn't work on the existing industrial machinery, and unfortunately, it's not recyclable, because that is one of the advantages of paper. So we thought, instead of wasting our time in finding a completely new solution, why don't we solve these problems? So we thought of fixing it up. We developed a coating that is completely plant-based, that is 100% recyclable. In fact, we got our recyclability test certified last week, so this presentation is having a good time. And it works on existing industrial machinery, so our customers do not have to make any kind of new capital investment to implement the solution. So far, we have been working with 7 big paper companies and 5 coating companies to test our solution and to implement it. We're also working with academic institutions, and have also raised quite some funds from governmental and non-governmental bodies. Through our industrial test results, we found out that we have been able to increase the water resistance by 97% and oil resistance by almost 95%. That is already substantial enough to put it into industrial use. From the market perspective, with our existing trial customers, the market potential is of 1.2 billion euros only in the European market. And if you see the overall coatings market, that's 152 billion euros annually. We are a small team, but we are alive and kicking. We have a mix of chemists as well as engineers and business and operational people. And we think we really have got the guts to make it happen. And after developing this coating technology for paper, we are going to scale it into textiles, home and personal care, where again, there's a lot of microplastics and formaldehyde involved. And yes, by the way, if you're wondering what my dad did after listening that there is PFAS in paper, I told him that there are a lot of innovative chemists and scientists working on the solution. Probably we are one of them, and he'll have a happy face soon enough. And if you think this solution can be profitable for you as well, we're always open to discuss. Thank you.
Savish, thank you very much. Und ich habe hier eine Tüte mitgebracht, da habe ich 3 Sachen drin, die ich Ihnen gerne mal zeigen möchte. Das sind alles welche, die Sie wahrscheinlich kennen.
Bag here that I would like to show you, and these are things that you all might know, and that they show why it's so important that we have smart solution. This is packaging for water in France. There are a lot of words used to explain how great this packaging is, but it's a composite just in order to package 30 milliliters of water that you could well drink from the sink. And then this is yogurt packaging. As you get it in Germany, I don't know how many use this. And if you want to dispose of it correctly, then you take off the paper or cardboard around, so the sleeve around, and also the lid, and then you dispose of it separately. That you can do that, and the manufacturer says, we have they're boasting that they have reduced the plastic component, but if you do not separate, then the disposal plant will have even more problems as opposed to full plastic packaging. So things presented, the things that you just presented are therefore even more fascinating, but I don't want any bad mood and that's why I'm going to show you another example, because I think these are on the right track. This is my last toothbrush from Dr. Best, and I was surprised that there is a little window in there. It's mainly cardboard, and it has this little window, and I thought, it will be a composite plastic material, but no, it's cellulose, so you can throw it into the waste paper bag or bin. And that brings me to the last startup of John from VCG.AI, looking into how to connect the supply and demand regarding plant-based residue.
Perfect. So thank you, everyone. My name is Jon Gordiup, and I'm one of the co-founders and CEO at VCG.AI. We are a Stuttgart-based company devoted to turning byproducts and waste into products of maximum value across different supply chains and regions. Today, over 85% of all organic byproducts and waste are not treated in a way that would maximize their value. 85% equals millions of tons every single year. And as a result, the EU agri-food industry alone is facing a cost of over 45 billion euros every single year. However, there is a strong push both from the regulations to maximize the amount of value that we can derive from waste, as well as to decarbonize all the various industries beyond the bio-based industries, as well as a huge market that is developing around the circular bio-based products that is expected to be worth almost 2.6 trillion by the year 2030. However, if done right, results can be really impressive. We worked with one of the Heineken breweries, where we were successfully able to validate a solution to turn 200,000 euros worth of cost per year into a 1.2 million euro benefit for the company annually. To do that on a global scale, we developed Value Chain Generator, an AI data platform that helps us to develop the optimal business models to maximize the value of every single residual globally. At the heart of what we do is our BioLink algorithm, BioLink already covers over 250 different byproducts and waste streams, over 150 conversion processes, so that we can produce high-value products such as chemicals, polymers, packaging materials, pharmaceutical ingredients, and so on. So how do we apply it? First, we analyze the data that is coming from different supply chains. So this way, we understand the supply of the residuals as well as the possible demand for new sustainable alternative inputs that could be used. Thanks to our proprietary prediction engine, we can also do that for every single company operating around Wuppertal or in Chile without collecting data. Using then the BioLink, we can detect where these possibilities for upcycling every single residual into high-value products can be developed. And using our knowledge base of over 100,000 data points at the moment, which covers patent filings, research papers, and so on, we are able to validate and de-risk all the further investments already in the early phases of developing more circular business models. We are working with medium and large-sized companies to figure out the optimal valorization pathways for different waste streams, as well as to find alternative circular products to be used within their production processes. And working with smaller companies, we allow them to participate in this, let's say, more circular economy of the future for free. On the other side, we are working with waste management companies as well as investors so that we can turn these validated cases into reality. We are currently doing this in over 35 regions all over Europe, working with some of the big industry companies as well as with a lot of the regional agencies, and are currently operating a database of over 1 million companies that we are successfully matchmaking into new successful circular business models. So the question is, do you also want to develop sustainable supply chains in a profitable way? In that case, talk to me or to my colleague Fadli, who is here with us today. Thank you.
Vielen Dank schon. So, wir hoffen, das war für Sie und euch genauso inspirierend wie für uns.
Well, I hope that was just as inspiring for you as for us. We've had the pleasure of talking to these people earlier. But before we continue with our dinner together, I'd like to tell you a brief story. A year ago, a young gentleman approached me. He said, I know Circular Valley. I studied in Wuppertal, and now I'm employed with the Messe Düsseldorf, the trade fair organization, and his name is Philipp Scheffler. And, well, we have the IFAT, the large waste management trade fair in Munich, but it mainly focuses on waste trucks. But a true circular economy trade fair that covers design, new business models, complete life cycles that could be rethought. Set a trade fair that covers all of that doesn't really exist. And it was just today that we are able to announce our partnership with Messe Düsseldorf. And next year, we're going to carry out a Circular Valley, or organize a Circular Valley convention. It's going to be a trade fair, but the second important component is a presentation of mature circular solutions and a presentation of what we are going to see in the market in the next 5 years. And that's going to be done by our partner, Fraunhofer. On the right side on this picture, you can see the 1,300 trash people by H.A. Schult. He's going to be there as well. And I think that's a wonderful idea when it comes to making this trade fair more visual. And here we have the gentleman who helped create this idea. He will stay with us and answer any questions that you may have, or if you would like to make suggestions, then please approach him. Messe Düsseldorf isn't the only partner who joined us. The community is growing and growing. The Duisburg port is also on board. That's a organization that is really good in reverse logistics and Lufthansa Industry Solutions, and BVB football club, who would also like to convey the message of, well, Circular Valley and the circular economy. And this closes our event, and I would like to thank you warmly for your attention, and I'm delighted about the fact that this group is so large and diverse. Helge Lind from the German Parliament and others. We have people here from politics, from the industry, from civil society, and I would like to invite you to stay longer after you've received so much new information, a lot of content. I hope you'll have a chance to exchange some more information and discuss over a glass of wine.
A group photo to be taken, so please walk up here and get the well-deserved final round of applause. So, perfect. Und die junge Dame.
And the young lady in green is the mother of the team, Larissa Happe, who organized this program and who continuously contacts you, asking you whether we can visit you. Now, please support us in our next program as you have supported us to date. It's the special experience that we cherish and get when we meet you personally, and that is what makes Circular Valley special and different. And this is the last round of applause for you.